Are you thinking about brewing your own beer this fall, but worried you might blow up your basement in the process? Or worse, make a beer that you can't even drink? Well, we met up with the owner of Plymouth Home Brew to give the straight skinny on how to brew up the perfect brown ale this season at minimal risk to you and your house.
Now that fall's rolling around, a lot of people are starting to brew their own beer, either for the first time or they kind of set aside the summer and now it's a little bit cooler, it's a lot better temperatures to start making beer again. A lot of people brew seasonally, and that could be anywhere from an Oktoberfest to a pumpkin beer to a really nice brown beer or a stout. And I'll just kind of give you some examples of how to brew a nice brown ale that's really easy to drink. It ferments really quickly and it tastes awesome for this time of year. Whenever anyone comes in, whether it's their first time here or their first time brewing, I just want to make sure that they are familiar with the ingredients that go into beer. For here, there's a couple different ways to brew beer. There's malt extracts, there's dry malt extracts, there's liquid malt extracts, and both are really great, easy ways to get started brewing without spending a whole lot of time and commitment to make it. There's a lot of really easy ways to get started with kits, but coming up and taking a recipe and actually putting the ingredients together makes it a little bit more fun. So in making a brown ale, you'll want to add some nice dark roasted malts. There's chocolate malts, there's a little bit of roasted barley, and they just give some really nice chocolate flavors, a little bit of coffee notes. Then there's crystal malts, and those add a lot of really nice nutty flavors, toffee notes, a little bit of caramel. This adds a little extra sweetness to it to help balance the different flavors out. After you've picked out your different malts that you want to use, we're actually going to go over to the hop fridge and pick some hops out. When you're picking out a recipe and going through your ingredients, there's a few different hop varieties. As you can see, there's a lot of hop varieties themselves, but there's two different ways to produce hops. There's whole leaf hops that are still in the cone shape, or there's the pellets that are condensed and also get a little bit extra flavor out of the pellets versus using the whole leaf. There's a lot of different yeast varieties. There's dry powdered yeast and there's liquid yeast. This is just a basic dry yeast, almost like what you would find at the grocery store to make bread with. But these different varieties give you different flavors to produce the proper style of beer and to give it the right flavor. Once you have all of your ingredients to make your beer, you're just going to lay them all out in order that you're going to need them and get your boiling pot ready with your water that you're going to need. The biggest thing is just trying to figure out what size pot you're actually going to need. If you're doing an extract beer, 5 gallons is plenty. Once you're done brewing and you go through your boiling process, you're going to cool it down and you're going to put it in a fermenter and you're going to let it ferment. When you're transferring from your primary fermenter into a bottling bucket to make it easier to bottle your beers, very little of that sediment that sits down at the bottom gets transferred back into that beer. The biggest thing is you want to use the proper siphoning equipment, and there's a couple different things that you can use, but my favorite is the auto siphon. Just a couple pumps and it gets the siphon going. I first sanitized my bucket and my auto siphon so that I'm not transferring any bad bacteria to make my beer go bad. And I'm just going to stick this down in the center. And I'm just going to give it 1, 2 pumps. And I'm just going to let this set down in the bottom. Try and center it. And that's about it. The Plymouth area has a lot of beer enthusiasts that have been really great and supportive in coming in here and sharing their knowledge not only with me but with other people, and then to transfer that and help new people come in and start their own beers or wines. It's been really, really rewarding. So that's the clearest beer I've ever